Well, hello there, and welcome to Martin and Kathy's Coffee Binge. We're so happy that you're here today.
Ah, that's good, Joe.
You did it! Congratulations! World's best cup of coffee. Great job, everybody.
Money. That which separates the haves from the have-nots. Patience, frugality, sacrifice. Deciding to invest in your family's future and taking responsibility for the consequences of those actions.
Mom, what are we doing here? Your father's laundering money for a Mexican drug cartel.
Money is, at its essence, that measure of a man's choices.
What'd you do today for our family?
GDN presents Martin and Kathy's Coffee Binge. Today's binge, Ozark.
Good morning. Welcome back to Martin and Kathy's Coffee Binge. If this is your first time listening, then we extend a special welcome to you, along with one question. Where you been? Coffee Binge is our attempt to lighten the mental load on everyone by supplying you with our trivial nonsense and proving once again that apparently anyone can have a podcast. I'm Martin, and I'll be serving as your guide, along with my little bitsy pookums, my pootie pie, my snuggy woogie, my lovely wife Kathy. Good morning, Kathy.
Why, good morning, Martin.
Okay.
I don't know what's wrong with you. Apparently, a lot.
Okay, well, so let's pause here. A quick trivial quiz. That line, actually all of those lines, Bitsy Pookums, My Pootie Pie, Snoogie Woogie, is from a long since ended comic strip.
Right.
It's still my absolute favorite till this day, which is, so says the 40-pound collection of cartoons I got on my shelf that's bending my shelf down. Mm-hmm. Does anyone know where it came from? And I can give you a hint. It went for 10 years and ended in 1995. The creator never allowed it to be made into a cartoon, even though it was very popular and so many people wanted to do it, including Jim Henson, George Lucas, and Steven Spielberg approached him about making an animated version of it, and he turned them down. He never allowed any merchandising to happen from his characters. So even though you can still see, you might see it on the back windshield of a truck or something, but those were never okayed by him because he gave no permission to do merchandising, even though his syndicates all wanted merchandising to be done, and he refused that to happen. So, if anyone can tell me,
Are you? When you say anyone, are
I'm
you
not
talking to
you.
me?
Well, yeah, no, I'm not talking to you because I already told you.
Okay. Well, I'm just wondering.
I'm talking
If
to
you want an answer, we're going to have a show where we have call-ins.
No, well, see, I just want an answer because number one, I want to see if anybody's listening.
Oh, okay.
And
well,
if not,
apparently I'm not because I don't know what you're talking about.
You
I'm
know.
just kidding.
You know what I'm talking about. I already told you the answer at least a couple days ago. It's done when clean out your head. You know. Anyway, so but
clean out my head.
but bonus points if you can tell me who said it and why. Don't look it up. Though you can. Actually, if you punch up that word, it will bring it up. Besides, I'm not going to know if you did that or not. Okay, just like we start every show, I'm going to give my lovely wife, Kathy, an opportunity to talk about whatever she wants to talk about, and I'm sure she's got something exciting for us. And I open the floor for you, my dear.
Why, thank you, darling. Well, let me just say that this week has been interesting because they've kind of said, hey, if you go outside or whatever, you're going anywhere, you need to have a mask on, which I'm good with that. So my daughters came over here Sunday afternoon, and we decided we would go ahead and make masks for each other. And because I'm the one who has a sewing machine, and they just basically came along.
So you were making masks for each other? Like you were making one for Elizabeth?
It doesn't, no,
okay.
No, that's not what happened.
Okay.
Basically, I was in the middle of doing something else. So Elizabeth was the one who brought she brought t-shirt material over here so that we could try to make these masks.
So these were old Walmart t-shirts?
Walmart t-shirts, any t-shirt, really.
Not bitter, is she?
You know what? Let's not go there. Anyway, So we look at these things. We're cut. You know, she's cutting up one that I just would never even have worn anyway on my face because it's kind of that not really cotton material. It's almost kind of like nylon t-shirt that I hate and just I don't know why anybody would even wear one of those. But anyhow, that's what she started off with, and it was black. And so I'm not sure what pattern she was using to make this thing. But it was horrible. And I was like, and what is this thing? She was like, well, it was just my first try. I was like, okay, that's fine. I said, let me see what I can do here. So then I cut out some of the more cottony t-shirts, and I actually made 2 of them, which were horrible, and not as horrible as hers, but pretty darn horrible.
Well, like I said, the one that I saw looked like if you had Sloth from the Goonies, where one ear is way down here and the one ear is way up here, that mask would have worked perfectly for that.
Okay, nobody asked you at all.
That must have been why I was told to stay downstairs when this thing was going on. Okay.
Anyway, it was just tragic and bad. And then I decided on the second one that I was going to make a decorative stitch on it so it looked pretty. That was an even worse idea. So anyhow, prior to all this,
so your thought was, well, if it looks kind of bad, but if it has pretty stitching, people won't care.
Sort of. Okay. So anyway, I said so prior to all this whole project happening, I had called my friend Norma actually the night before or the day before, and she had called me back that morning before the girls came over, and said, "Hey," I said, "Listen, I was just wondering, would you mind making me one of these masks or make so I can have one." Actually, I said I wouldn't mind a couple of them because we have people over here for my mom to taking care of her, and I wanted them to feel safe and comfortable, and I also wanted to make sure that we had one around here so that if we had to go to the store or something, we would have one.
And of course, then you're not taking them away from the people who need them.
And if we make them for ourselves, then we're not buying them off the shelves when actual health care workers need them. So anyway, so what I did, so she called me and said, sure, send me a pattern and I'll make some.
Oh, so you did send her a pattern?
Yeah.
Okay.
I sent her actually a video, the same video we watched. That's what she turned out, and then what we turned out.
I'm confused then.
Well, no, because that's made out of cotton, and that's why I called her, because she quilts. And I knew this was more up her alley than mine, and the fact that we had no real, I don't have a cutting board here, I don't have anything.
Sounds like excuses.
It is, big excuses.
They're not excuses, they're reasons.
Well, yes, reasons for my excuses. So, anyway, that was what I decided to do. And so today, her husband came by and dropped them off in plastic bag, and they're gorgeous. They're beautiful.
I wouldn't. They're really nice masks. I wouldn't wear them because they would clash with anything I own.
Oh, they wouldn't. They would go with all of your tie-dye stuff and your flowery shorts that you wear. So
that's a lie.
It's perfect.
That's
you
not
look just
true.
like an Easter bunny.
That's
anyway,
not true.
They're beautiful, and I'm super happy, and I couldn't be more indebted to her for she made 6 of them for us, probably in 8 or 9 minutes, where it took us about all afternoon to make 3 awful looking things that no one would ever want to put on their face. So anyhow, there you go. That's my story for today. It was hilarious. Everybody just stay safe and stay home. Don't go out. Just don't.
So for today's show, we're going to be talking about Ozark, and I need to apologize because they announced last week that Lock and Key was going to be renewed for 2nd season, and I had made mention at Twitter that was going to be our next show, which was my plan. But we got kind of wrapped up into the show we're going to be talking about now, and we just finished it, so it was relatively fresh, so we decided to go ahead and do this while it is fresh. And Lock and Key we watched a little bit ago, so that'll give us a chance to kind of familiarize ourselves with Lock and Key.
Everything's like it's just a little bit ago because we've been here forever.
It's not been that bad. So how long have you been out of school?
7 years. I'm gonna say, when did they get out of school? I want to say they got out of school, the last day they went was the 13th. I'm pretty sure.
So it's been, 4 weeks, thereabouts?
I don't know, it seems so much longer.
Yeah, I'm sure it probably seems longer to him, too, because that kid would probably love to get out. I mean, not size outside. I mean, just go to Walmart or go
anywhere.
Somewhere. Right. So anyway, as I said, I apologize for that. We will be getting to Lock and Key in a future episode. Okay, so we're going to be talking about Ozark. It was created by Bill Dubuque and Mark Williams for Netflix. The first 10 episodes were released on July 21st, 2017. The second season episodes came about a year later after that. And the third season came about a year and a half after that, and they actually just were released on March 27th. Being a graphic design major, one of the unique things I found about the show as far as its opening goes, as designed by Fred Davis, he designed each show with the letter O for Ozark in the beginning, and then it had to have a 4-drawing pictograph inside the O, each one representing a plot element of the story that for that particular episode. Thank you. But they also were shaped into a position where they would spell the rest of the word Ozark. So you'd have like a man kneeling would represent the Z, and a building represent the A. I thought it was quite clever, and he does that for each episode, which was pretty cool. Now, I put one of those on our little graphic thing, but ours had to do with coffee and us. Which
doesn't spell Ozark.
It doesn't spell anything.
The hell?
It just means I'm self-centered. But I tried to get to spell something, but I couldn't spell it. So I didn't do that. Anyway, Jason Bateman, who is the star of the show, actually was supposed to direct all 10 episodes of the first season, but due to scheduling conflicts, he ended up directing the first 2 episodes of the first season and the last 2. And in season 2 and 3, he's directed just the first 2 episodes of each of those seasons. Okay, so like I said, Jason Bateman, besides being a part-time director and executive producer, he's also the star of the show. And who else is in this show, my dear?
Well, Laura Linney's in it, and I tell you what, I like Laura Linney a lot. She's really great in this show.
She kind of picks up steam as the.
Steam is okay. That's the word you want to use, but yeah, she turns into an very interesting character in this.
Well, some people had a different word for it.
Whatever.
Depends on who you asked.
No,
right.
She's a strong woman. So
right.
Yeah, I'm sure if you ask guys, they'll have something else to say. But women would say she's very strong.
Well, no, actually, some of the women who also said that she was a cold-hearted.
That's true because they are just.
But that's because she's good. She's getting over on them. So
that's right. Too bad. Tough luck. Oh well. Okay, and the other really strong girl in here is Ruth, who is Julia Garner.
Julia, I like her character there.
So do I. She don't take no crap, and I like her a lot.
Right.
She is my kind of girl.
Well, of course she's your kind of girl.
If
she swears just like you.
Right. If that was her real personality, her and I could be very good friends.
And as you said, number one, she don't take crap off anybody. Literally doesn't take any crap off anybody.
And I admire that.
Yeah, and she certainly speaks her mind.
Yep. Love that too.
So I like.
You
her
know
a lot.
Who else? Darlene, and Lisa Emery. She's another one. Don't take nothing off of nobody.
Yeah, well, actually, if you ask Ruth, I know we talked about not swearing, but she described her as being batshit crazy.
Well, she did. She is, and she is.
Right.
But that's all right. But she's also a businesswoman too, and she's got a smart business mind, and I just like her because she's just, oh yeah, really? Is that how that's going to go? Well, you just call me a redneck? I got something for you.
Well, let's not jump into that quite yet.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, but surely you will understand once you get into this show, that shouldn't take you very long, probably 2 episodes, and you'll start really getting, I'm a 2-episode kind of person. If I'm not grabbed by episode 2, I'm not gonna waste
I think
a lot
which was
of time.
Not changing the subject, which is what we do. But I think it was part of the problem originally with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because the first couple episodes were okay, but they didn't necessarily drag us in until after we got further into the show and then went back and then they
Right.
were
That's
better.
true. That's true.
So if you want us to watch from beginning to end, right, you got to pretty much get our attention
yeah.
in the first couple episodes. If you don't do that, we'll probably get back to you, but it's going to be a couple years later down the line.
Of course, never mind. We can. I digress because we can talk about a whole bunch of other stuff now. But anyway, let's get back onto our our cast
also
members because the women in this show are.
And I didn't notice that as I'm
Furious.
going through this line of cast members that I highlighted. The majority of them are women.
Absolutely. Helen Pierce, who is the attorney in this show, played by Janet McTeer.
She kind of was like almost like the cleaner for the cartel, really. I mean, she basically because whenever there was an issue, whether or not Marty or his wife saw it, she'd go in there and clean it up. She wouldn't ask them if that's what they wanted to do. She'd just go in there and do it. And I won't get into too much detail what that is, because
I agree.
because you know me, I'll sit there and tell you the whole thing.
Right, and then I'm like, stop telling them the whole story.
Okay. Also, third season, and any review that we have done, and pretty much anyone has done of Ozark for the third season, is mentioning Tom Pelfrey's performance.
That man.
I don't see how that man didn't need therapy after doing this thing, because
therapy or
I know I needed it because
I know. I was just gonna say we're all gonna need it after
because
his performance. That's for sure.
When it was again, I said because I saw him in Iron Fist, and he played a totally different kind of character. But he was out. I think if he were not nominated for some kind of acting award in this, that they ought to.
There's no justice in this.
No, it would be a crime. But then again,
Absolutely.
that's kind of what the whole.
But I can tell you what the acting in this show is so good, and it's so. I mean, I really think that these people are in this thing. 6 feet in.
Well, see, and that's that's a different show. Okay, so we're sitting here talking about this, but I guess we've never really talked about what the whole premise of the show is. So, basically, what it is Jason Bateman plays Marty Bird, which is another thing weird. So he doesn't mind being called Marty. I'm Martin. I never like to get called Marty.
Yeah, just because
my family would call me Marty, but that's about it. Otherwise, I want to be Martin.
All right.
Probably because it rhymed with something unfortunate, but that was
many unfortunate things, or just smart alecky things. But go ahead.
Well, anyway, so he was a financial advisor in Chicago, and eventually he got kind of wrapped up through his partner into laundering money for the Mexican cartel. And unfortunately, some of his members who he was involved in got a little greedy, which the cartel didn't like, so they did something about it.
You know how that goes.
Right. So you can guess what they did about that. But as for Marty, mainly because Marty's a numbers guy, and he's really good at what he does. So basically, he told them that he's been doing some research about the Ozarks, and he thinks if I could go to the Ozarks, I can get you launder your $5 million, or I can launder your money better and get you more return. Whichever number, it was a lot more money than I'm ever going to know about. So anyway, he took his whole family to the Ozarks. By the way, I lived in the Ozarks. I don't remember any of that kind of stuff going on.
What?
I don't remember any crime families or anything. No, you had the Beanfest and Outhouse race.
Hey, did you notice that Marty and his family all drive a bunch of crappy cars?
Yeah, and
nobody has anything really lavish.
That's another thing about that to me is not realistic. I didn't see a single broken down truck in anyone's yard.
Oh, I know, they were driving a couple of them around.
Okay, so that's maybe Arkansas and not Missouri.
Well, still, it doesn't matter. There was plenty of broken down crap in that trailer, whatever that was.
So anyway, again, we digress as always. So Marty and the family moves to the Ozarks to start doing business there to help launder the money for the cartel. But what they didn't go in accounting for is the area they lived in already had their own little crime syndicate, and that was the Snells, like we've already talked about, and the Langmores. So they had to kind of work around without stepping on their toes. And then, of course, you also had the FBI sniffing around because, of course, they suspected people laundering money and other crimes in that area. So they basically had to stay ahead of the Snells, the Langmores, and the
other mob,
and the cartel for that matter,
and the other mob, the Kansas City mob.
Right, I forgot about the Kansas City mob.
No need to forget about them.
Okay, so like I said, so getting into all of this, what was it about Ozark that you thought made it compelling to watch?
Well, first of all, and I don't want to do too much comparison to this because I've not. Here's another. I hate to admit this, but I have not seen Breaking Bad. But of what I have seen so far, Breaking Bad, there's a similarity.
Right. I mean, well, basically, and this is kind of where I drew the similarity to it, was that in Breaking Bad, he initially didn't want to get involved in this kind of thing, but circumstances made him get, in this case, crystal meth.
Right.
But in Marty's case, he didn't necessarily want to get involved. His thinking was, though, that I can do this. I think I'm smart enough not to get caught. So the only thing I thought was sort of interesting is that he discussed it with his wife to see if they should do it. I would have thought that would have been something he just would have done and told her about later on, but he pretty much discussed everything for them, at least initially, with his wife before they even went into it.
Yeah.
So, so again...
It's just, you know what, I tell you what, once you start... I would assume that once you start having to keep secrets to... Well, not only to keep yourself alive or to keep your business going or whatever you got to do to keep those secrets going, that's got to drive a huge wedge in between a marriage.
Well, and needless to say, is exactly the kind of thing that happened. Not only secrets on his part, secrets on her part.
Right. Then there's just drama.
And of course, the other thing that they did, which is, that never, as far as I know, as I said, we have never watched actually all of Breaking Bad.
Right.
But I don't remember them dragging the kids into it like Marty and his wife did.
And like I said, we hadn't watched all of Breaking Bad. I can see how that could happen,
But okay, so. So we had that. I mean, pretty much there's drama, every turn in this thing. And we've already talked about the acting. I mean, top-notch acting going into this.
Absolutely.
Lots of things. Again, we always talked about, we're trying to censor, we're trying to be a more gentle show now. So we're trying to censor ourselves from saying the excrement word so much. So there's plenty of holy crap moments in this where some things you didn't expect to happen.
Right.
Which again to me is a major selling point for any show that
I love something. I love a show that keeps me off balance. Now, I don't mind thinking through an episode or thinking through even a couple of episodes to see what's going to happen or think of what's going to happen. I don't mind that, but I love it when I haven't thought of the twist that could actually happen.
Right, and be honest with you, I want that. I don't want to be able to figure out what's
because
happen.
That's just boring to me. I hate it when I know what's going on or what's getting ready to happen. I like Red Wedding kind of, what? What? Or, we've talked about, what was it, maybe with Leonardo DiCaprio in it?
Departed.
The Departed. Like, that was another one.
Actually, there is some comparisons again in Ozark to The Departed.
Yeah, I like that because I want that kind of surprise. It's not always. I
say sometimes it's not surprises and oh my God, I'm surprised that person. What happened to that person? It's just when it happened.
Yeah, you're going what the blah. Anyway, that is quite exciting though. So I do love that.
And also, this was kind of funny going into as we were going through the third season, listening to Kathy sitting there saying that I can't take this, but she wouldn't turn it off.
Yeah, it's like I kept going. I've got to turn this off. I got to pause. I can't take it anymore for right now. It's just too much for me. And Martin's looking at me, and I'm like, quiet.
Right.
Quiet. I gotta.
But she's turning the volume off.
I gotta see what's happening now. Shh.
You're saying,
Get out of here.
You know, we call it train wreck syndrome.
Yeah.
We just
I
can't
just
help
can't stop looking.
Even though we
I
know
don't want to.
we think it's going to be bad. We probably know it's going to be bad, but we still have to see it anyway.
Yeah. So.
Okay, so let's talk about things that we've learned through these seasons. Some of these things are actually simple rules that are just were proven. Number one, it's not the fall that'll kill you; it's the sudden stop. And if you watch it, you'll understand where that comes from. That's all I'm gonna. That's as far as I'm gonna go there.
Well, I'd say I would probably go with don't call Darlene Snell a redneck. That is a definite thing you don't want to do.
Right, which is actually that whole thing kind of actually didn't surprise me that she took offense to it. Her reaction to it, which also basically told you that she was batshit crazy.
Yeah, man, she's nuts. She's nuts, but I like her kind of nuts. Her kind of nuts is you really okay. All right, I got you.
Yeah,
and then and another
ask
thing.
her husband, but that's another thing.
Right?
What else did you learn?
I learned that owning your own crematorium is pretty handy.
Yeah, I mean it saves you the trouble of having to dump people in rivers and
then you gotta find. Then you can find their stuff, and
right.
It's much better to have just dust.
So now, when he first, again, well, I hate to get too it, but did he know how to actually operate that thing when he started?
Apparently, he jumped right in, then pushed the
He
button.
probably read the instruction manual. You know,
Well, yeah,
unlike those people who don't like to read things.
Oh, that would be me.
You're right.
I would have just said, "Where's the red button? Start or green, start, red, stop." That's my.
Okay, the next one is a kind of a personal thing to me. I want to know: do all wives look at their husbands like they're some kind of a moron when they bring an arcade cabinet into the house? And I'm going to go into a little bit of detail on this, even though because I don't think it's giving away anything, state secrets. Marty was doing a flashback as a kid, and he was playing this video game. This arcade game, watching this other guy who was really good at it play it. And of course, every time he'd lose, he'd have to stick another quarter in. And Marty was sitting there thinking, that guy is like some kind of genius at this thing, and he can't ever win. This thing's fixed.
Right.
Well,
right.
Yeah, it's there to earn money. So anyway, after having this memory, suddenly he went ahead and bought an arcade cabinet just like the one he played as a kid and brought it into the house. And she's looking at him like he's some kind of freaking moron. And of course, I know that because I have an arcade cabinet in my tool shed, along with a pinball cabinet.
You know what?
What?
Just.
And you look at me the same way.
And you want to know why? And you want to know why I looked at
yes,
you
why do you look at me?
Exactly the same way she did.
Why?
Because exactly the same thing happened. All of a sudden, there it is. No discussion about it. Nothing. Oh, there's an arcade cabinet
So
here.
So how was that hurting her?
Nothing to do with that. It's just like, what the
so that's
hell
why,
is that for?
No, our son has an arcade cabinet in his room. Did he want it? No, Dad really wanted it, but he put it in his room anyway. Now he'll play it occasionally.
Yeah, he does play it. So.
I can be honest with myself and say that was all about Dad, really.
Well,
so was the little mini bar top one. I'm like,
true, but it was something for you to kind of play with him. But that's beside the point. The point here is that her look at you was exactly my look at you because it was one of those surprise buys.
Right. Like it's not like you didn't have the money for it. Not
the point again. It's the look of. Really, we needed that. You needed that
again.
Why of all the crap that is going on? That's what you needed. That's what you ordered.
Hey, I could have
yesterday, and it was delivered today.
I could have bought a fancy car, which he sit there and tell you don't spend your money recklessly.
It's not recklessly. That just draws attention.
Right. Well, you think people are going? Oh, he has an arcade cabinet. He must be laundering money.
He's driving a Buick. Sierra or something like that. I mean, it looked like a car I had 100 years ago. And, no, it's...
Okay, so anyway. Okay, so the next lesson, marriage therapy is a very profitable profession. Until it's not. Especially when you're playing both sides to the middle.
Yeah, that was working out pretty good there for about 5 minutes.
Well, see, and I don't blame her.
Well,
if someone's willing to pay it, then
hey, take their cash.
Right. So
that business isn't regulated that way.
Right, and it's not like she wasn't trying to help them. She was.
There's a whole town of crazy over there.
Right, I'm surprised she's not seeing everybody. She
No.
should have been seeing the Snells.
No kidding. Well, they didn't think they were crazy. Well, I think he knew she was, but whatever. Anyway, that's fact.
Okay, so the next lesson.
Oh, well, nothing insulate walls better than a couple $1 million in cash, or like $50 million in cash.
Yeah, that's...
I was going to use the same insulation.
Well, actually, so was I,
Here.
except but I couldn't get those rolls of pennies into the...
I didn't say 50 million pennies. That's a whole lot different.
Well, that would be the closest I ever came to putting money into the wall, so...
Well, I can tell you that. I surprised, well, anyway.
Okay, our last thing we learned here. This is an important safety tip, kids. If your buddy is being electrocuted, don't grab him by the arm to try to save him. It's bad. Didn't any of these people watch the safety videos on electrocution to know that you don't just go ahead and... You might as well just stuck your hand right down into his mouth.
Well, that is one thing that you learn, like when you're about 6.
It's well, apparently no one taught this person because... And, of course, he got exactly what happens when you don't do that properly.
Well,
I may have given more word to that than I should have, but anyway.
It doesn't matter. There's all kinds of stuff going on around there.
Okay, so needless to say, just like we said, that if you can get into it, and be honest with you, in this particular case, you can get into it relatively easy. I said that by 2 episodes, you're pretty much are hooked into it. It's only 10 episode season, so it's not real long.
Right.
So that's a good thing. Now, at this point, at least as of the point we're recording this, they have not yet decided whether or not they're going to have a season 4.
Which would be a crying shame, I'll
Right,
tell you
well,
that.
I'll be honest with you,
And I'll have something to say about that.
I honestly would find it almost inconceivable that they're not going to have a season 4. Now, of course, recently, Jason Bateman had said that they're waiting for season 4 and they're already planning like they're going to have one. But he doesn't expect this show to be a long-term thing. He says that probably by 5 or 6 seasons they'll have explored pretty much what they want to explore, because he doesn't want to get in a situation where they're repeating themselves. He called it jumping the shark, which is the old thing way back for Happy Days kind of thing. So now, much to Joanne's disappointment, my boss there at Geek Vibes, he says that Jason needs to shut the heck up. And I didn't notice that yet. He abbreviated it, which makes sense.
Oh,
because,
yeah?
because he wouldn't say the words.
Well, I can tell you what. It is a really, really, really good show, and I highly recommend it. And I have...
So it has the Kathy seal of approval.
That's right. I have supreme taste in shows.
So
And let me tell you about another one we're going to watch.
What's that?
Well, we were watching it last night. This is called Nailed It. And it's the dumbest show I've ever seen in my life.
Oh,
but I laughed my head off because
that was the
I
cooking show,
yeah,
right?
I was overtired, but it was pretty
Actually,
damn funny.
that was a good show to watch when you're overly tired.
Yeah, it was. That you know those movies that that you see and you laughed your head off the first time you saw because you're either drunk or high or maybe you were just...
No, I don't know anything about it.
Well, not high necessarily, but you
or
know
the
what
drunk,
I'm
for that matter. But anyway.
Anyway, you were impaired in some way or overtired, which is kind of like being drunk or...
So you thought it was hilarious at that time.
Oh, my God.
So what happens when you watch it when you're actually awake?
It's probably, I'm going to go, what the hell is this? But anyway, I laughed my head off last night because I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah, so Nailed It was a baking show where...
you know what, just watch the first episode. You only got to watch 15 minutes of the first episode. If it ain't funny, just turn it off. But do it when you're overtired.
But I now know
impaired.
that I bake just like a TV baker.
That's right, you sure do.
So anyway, again, we digress. But that's all we got for Ozark. Like I said, we do recommend that you watch it. I think if obviously, again, same recommendation as before. If you don't like swearing, you won't like it. If you don't like people meeting unfortunate ends, that might be a problem for you. That's really about it on that show. I don't remember.
There's a little sex in there, but nothing that's
nothing
exciting.
I'm so sorry.
Well, you know what I mean. Nothing's got to go, oh my God.
So anyway, so you can watch Ozark. Of course, you know it's a Netflix show, so you can see it on Ozark on Netflix. You can see it on Ozark, yeah. Like I said, there's only 3 seasons of it, and hopefully will be season 4 here. Will be announced pretty soon. So anyway, so that's all we've got. I'm Martin.
And I'm Kathy.
And we'll catch you on the next Coffee Binge. Bye.